And I am so pleased and honored to be joined by Marilyn right now. Marilyn, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about this book. And I also want to talk about the humble beginnings and where your story originally began, because you really do have a story to tell.
Yes, it began in the mountains of West Virginia, the Appalachian Mountains, right on top of the mountain. And I lived with my grandparents for 9 years.
Wow.
My mother was off trying to build her career in education and couldn't afford, at that time, a babysitter. This was in the 40s, and it was at the very end of the Great Depression. It had lingered in the mountains, and there was a lot of poverty. But I was so fortunate to live with them. They were wonderful people, and they had a self-sustaining farm. So we were never out of food, and it never occurred to me that there was poverty. And they shared what they had. And so my beginnings were wonderful, full of warmth and love and food and
everything you needed.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm curious as to where your journey went from there. I am fascinated by the idea that you had zero business experience and have done so well for yourself in setting such an example for other women out there. Where did that life go from when you were young to where you are today? Where was that culmination of this is what I want to do?
First off, it wasn't what I planned to do. I wanted to be a doctor.
Wow.
But things, take various turns, and you meet various people. And I ended up at the University of Michigan at one time and met my former husband there, who was a designer. And he had C. William Moss Associates and was a foremost known designer. And he had revolutionized the tent market, coming up with a pop tent, which was lightweight, easy to put up, and didn't stink and was very fun. And he went on to design different things. And I started working for him as just a receptionist. Bill was a brilliant designer and artist, but he couldn't run a business. And I don't know about you, but I think women sort of pitch in when things get rough and you need taken care of. So the business wasn't working, and I got in there and had to start running it. And what I used instead of an MBA or any business experience was that beginning of my first 9 years with my grandparents. And I learned just the wonderful values from them of sharing and trusting and caring and respecting people. And I just started running the company with those values and my intuition and intuitive feelings, and ended up with a very loyal, wonderful workforce. I had 164 employees, and we worked together. We all agreed on our mission statement, which was that each individual has worth and dignity, and I wanted to be able to give them the potential to reach their full potential. And so I did that with each one.
I love that. And I would imagine that some of these stories are what we can expect in this book, Mountain Girl from Barefoot to Boardroom. And I'm very curious, one of the part I wanted to ask you is you want to unlearn the idea that faking it is a negative thing, that you acted like you knew everything until you learned it. And that allowed you to build the confidence that you needed to succeed and to be respected. I love that line. And I think as women, we can learn so much from that. I
hope so, because I know there's too much of the fake it until you make it. And I decided, no, that's not what I was doing. I had to fake it because I was running a company. I was the president and CEO. So certainly I had to start acting like one, right? Whether I knew what it was and what I was supposed to do or not. But that gave me the respect and the time to then develop myself and to learn and to take risks, but from mistakes, be sure and learn.
I think a lot of people could learn from you, Miss Marilyn. You are a leader and a true pioneer in every right. Thank you so much for being such a beautiful example of what it means to be a woman and a career woman all at the same time. I appreciate talking to you.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, Marilyn, thank you.